We're witnessing the Dylanization of corporate America.
Please don't make that a phrase. The Dylanization. Basically, you guys are trying to just keep this ridiculous nonsense going forever, huh? Like, you're never going to stop with this, are you? It's just going to go on and on. This is just like, I just need to get used to this being part of my life, is, you know, you guys being perpetually triggered by everything that happens. Every time someone who is black or trans or gay or anything other than like a straight white dude, every time any of that is featured prominently in a commercial or an advertisement or a movie or a promotion of any kind, you guys are just going to cry about it, and I'm just going to have to deal with that. And that's just going to be my life now, right? Okay.
Companies are committing financial...
I'm making the adjustment. I've decided to just accept that. I don't know why I should, but I can't stop it. At least, you know, the law prevents me from stopping it, so I'll just have to accept it.
Financial suicide, one after the other. We all remembered what happened to Bud Light, and Disney got a...
Yeah, nothing. I mean, you know, look, you look at the, I mean, I guess something happened to Bud Light. To be fair to conservatives, Bud Light sales declined. To be unfair to conservatives, which, actually, it's still fair. To be fair to conservatives from a different angle, Anheuser-Busch stock is pretty much been unaffected by this at the end of the day. Like, you go and look at the stock history of Anheuser-Busch, their stock is not fucking significantly up or down. In fact, over the last 5 years, it's been pretty much like you'd never put your money in it, but if you already had it, you probably wouldn't take it out either. It's a pretty stable stock as far as stock goes. It has not suffered any sort of major repercussions based on the declining sales of Bud Light. Because guess what? It owns a bunch of other beers. It's a huge, giant company that you really, if you drink any sort of alcohol, you can't really escape. And here's the thing: pretty much every other company that sells booze also sells it to gay people and has had marketing that targets LGBT people, because there are such things as gay bars, right? And it turns out the people who go to the gay bars, they're also drinking alcohol. And so they're also a demographic that these giant corporations are trying to pander to. And so that means that they're going to do that. So, like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, just stop drinking beer then. Because every beer under the sun has had some sort of LGBT advertising at some point. Although I bet you guys might have scared a few off of doing it, because now they know that at the first sign of any of that, a bunch of weirdos on Fox News might get terrified. So maybe you've scared some companies off of wanting to do LGBTQ advertising. But at the end of the day, I don't know that really hurts the LGBT community or anything, because oh well, like, you're not being treated as much of a consumer. No one cares about the representation of being advertised to, right? Like, I don't care about that. I don't think anyone really does. People hate commercials. People hate product placement. People hate promotions. These things all genuinely just suck. So if you've done something to spare a group of people from having to being marketed to, then you've really only done them a favor. A lot of people have asked me, hey, where do you do your live streams? And the answer to that is that I do live streams called Abandon Hope every Sunday on the Pessimist Productions Patreon. That is linked down below. There is all sorts of other stuff on that Patreon as well. It is about $7 a month, and I think that we offer a pretty generous amount of content in exchange for that membership. So if that's something that interests you, be sure to check out the Patreon link in the description section of this video.
All weird, started sticking their nose in politics, and then their movies started flopping. Then there's Target.
I mean, the idea that Disney stuck its nose in politics, I think, is pretty ridiculous, because Disney stood idly by as the state that they were located in passed this draconian Don't Say Gay bill. which is completely vague and has already been expanded, well beyond what its like stated intentions were, right? So Disney did nothing the entire time that law was being passed. It was only after the law was already passed that Disney just released some very tokenistic, like, oh man, we don't support that. And that was all they were ever going to do. Disney was never going to do anything else other than put out that little statement of just like, yeah, we don't support it, but it is what it is. That was all Disney was going to do, is just put out like a little bit of tokenistic resistance, non-resistance really. Just a tokenistic declaration of like, we don't agree, and then pat themselves on the back and move on with their day. But because Ron DeSantis is a weird, psychotic imbecile, he decided like, I'm going to pick a fight with Disney. So Disney didn't pick a fight with DeSantis. It was the other way around. DeSantis picked a fight with Disney. And yeah, are their movies flopping left and right? Yeah, their movies are flopping left and right because they're awful. It doesn't have anything to do with wokeness. I mean, we've seen that woke movies can do well at the box office. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry, Across the Spider-Verse. Ultra woke movie. Huge box office hit. #1 box office hit of the year, Barbie movie. One of the wokest mainstream movies to ever exist. Perhaps even the wokest mainstream movie to ever exist, depending on how you want to define wokeness. So, I don't know. The idea that go woke, go broke doesn't really hold up to scrutiny. And I did a whole video on this, by the way, if you want to see it. I did a whole video called Disney Pandering Hurts Us All, or something along those lines. And I explain, the real problems with Disney are that they're creatively bankrupt, relying far too much on established precedent, and they're trying to make movies that please everyone, which is not a great idea. A movie has to have a target audience. When you try to make a movie that's going to please men and women equally, and straight people and gay people equally, and all these things, you're not going to make that. That movie's going to suck, because that movie is not about an artist's perspective. That movie is about pandering to everybody as much as possible. Which South Park, even though so many people in the anti-SJW sort of crowd have misinterpreted South Park into the Panderverse, or Enter the Panderverse, or whatever the hell it was called. So many people have misinterpreted that as being just like 100% on their side. I don't know how they've possibly managed to come to that conclusion when it literally says that just calling everything woke is equally lazy. And that's exactly what they do. Like, it was every bit as mean to them as it was to Kathleen Kennedy, who, by the way, does legitimately deserve that criticism that she was, faced with. The real problem is just trying to pander and trying to make movies that are bereft of creativity and are just about making money. I actually saw a thing on Instagram the other day, an Instagram reel where they were talking to George Lucas, who I'm not a huge fan of, but nonetheless, he nailed it. He talked about how, back in the day, even though the film studios have always been about making money, they used to be run by people who genuinely loved movies. Now, film studios are not made by people who love movies. They're made by people who love money. And as a result, they're trying to make movies that just appeal to the most amount of people possible. But what they don't realize is that when you try to appeal to everyone, you're going to make dog shit that nobody wants to see. Because a great recipe for failure is trying to appeal to every single person. People's interests are just too different, and when you try to appeal to everyone, you don't go far enough in any direction to stand out. And before too long, all of your properties feel cookie cutter and identical. And even if you might make money on them for a while, eventually the interest is going to die down because there's no more novelty to it. There's no more intrigue to it. There's no more excitement to it. And that's exactly what's happened to Disney. People look at the trailers for these Marvel films now, and it's just like, I've seen this a million times. There's nothing special about this. There's nothing that stands out about this any longer. This has been completely run into the ground. It's reached the point of beyond saturation. And the same is true for a lot of, these Disney remakes they keep pumping out. This Little Mermaid thing that they put out. I mean, Who wants to watch some vastly inferior version of The Little Mermaid, right? Who wants to see that? Who wants to watch a vastly inferior version of a movie that was beloved? Nobody does. Who wants to watch some, like, the 15th attempt at making a Haunted Mansion movie? You know, like, enough. Give it a break.
They were selling a line of clothes for trans toddlers. Tuckums. Yes, tuck.
I mean, this was actually not marketed towards toddlers. It was not even marketed towards kids. This was actually adult product. It was not even in the children's section. It became a pretty commonplace lie on the right that this was marketed towards kids. It actually was not. And now it's evolved even beyond just being marketed towards kids. Now it was marketed towards toddlers. So
Tuckums. Their stock tanked, down $9 billion over the summer, but they didn't learn anything. Target hired this person, Gay Cruella, to...
Gay Cruella, huh? That sounds pretty cool. Maybe I'm going to be pro Target now. I'm going to look at Target's stock here. So yeah, I mean, it looks, when I'm looking at what Target has done, it's like pretty similar to what you see in most retailers. They, you know, you look back 5 years ago and they're sitting at about, you know, $75, $83, $70, $80 a share. The pandemic happened, and like many things, it started going up. By the time you get to like 2020, 2021, it's up there at like 230, 260, even at its height. Pandemic kind of, you know, broke down, and now they're sitting at about 131. So they're still much higher than they were 5 years ago. They're not as high as they were during the pandemic because, you know, that was a huge time in the stock market. Everything was up. So basically, this decline of Target stock coincides with a decline of the market overall. So I don't really, and I don't see any sort of precipitous drop that coincides with Target like going woke, like here. I'll just fucking show you what I'm looking at here. Right? Like if Target went through a decline, it was right around, I mean, the biggest drop you see in Target stock is right around here. So that's like what, May of 2022. That was their big drop. And that was well before all this like talk of like, oh my God, Target's so woke and they're doing all this woke stuff. Like, that happened later. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think all that like controversy about Target, that happened way later than May of 2022. That was this year, right? So, and if you look, there's no precipitous drop of in Target stock around the time of them like quote unquote going woke. So this is yet more just like misinformation.
To run their merchandising strategy. Gay Cruella says he's ready to...
Like, can you actually... I mean, look, if you want to call him Gay Cruella, that's fine with me. But, like, what's their real name? Like, who is this dude for real? Like, can you tell me who Gay Cruella... Or do they just go by Gay Cruella? Because if they actually go by Gay Cruella, fucking based.
Whip out the glitter and hellfire flamethrowers to rip the old world to shreds.
Cool.
Now, we don't really know what that means. But
I do. I like it.
Target can hire and sell whatever they want. It's their business. If the stock crashes and sales go down, it's their...
I mean, the stock has not crashed. Sales might have gone down because sales are... I mean, retail is a tough fucking business. That's why I don't only retail stock. Too unstable.
Their money. But Prime Time wanted to see what Target was selling. What does the store look like after Cruella whipped out the glitter and the flamethrower?
I'm ready.
So we sent one of our producers to Target, and they found this.
Dun, dun, dun.
Gay Nutcracker.
Fucking Gay Nutcracker. Well, you know what? This has brought me to a realization, everybody. I now realize that things have gone too far. I mean, a gay nutcracker? What's next? Like, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. I didn't know this, guys. Did you know this? Did you know that we ran out of problems? Did you know that America has no actual problems and that this is worth being concerned about right now? Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. But I guess it is.
Complete with a rainbow hat, a trans flag, full price, $12. But right now it's on sale for...
And it's not really a trans flag. It's an LGBTQIAZMT, whatever letters are in it these days, plus flag.
Great. Target also sells Santa ornaments, but Target's Santa is in a wheelchair and is black. And it's a good thing our chim...
Can I just like ask you a question? Who gives a shit? Here's the thing. If you don't like it, don't buy it. I won't be buying it. I don't care about it. I don't give a shit if Santa's black and gay and whatever the fuck else. You know, they want to sell gay, black, crippled Santa. That's up to them. And I wish them luck. Who fucking gives a rat's ass about this? Like, who cares?
Chimney is wheelchair accessible, so Jesse Jr. is going to get all the gifts he wants. Gay Nutcracker and wheelchair Santa might be the only items in Target that don't get looted. A sheriff in California who was trying to help Target stop shoplifters was told to not arrest shoplifters in the store. If they want someone arrested, go around outside and walk behind the store where nobody could film it. The sheriff says those orders come from the top.
It's really happening at the corporate level, not the local level. The employees, loss prevention, they really want to work with us. Corporate does not. It's a conscious decision by them.
So police are triggering for shoppers. They don't want shoppers feeling unsafe or threatened by law enforcement. It's like they want people stealing, but...
Dude, I guarantee you that Target has done calculations on this and has determined that they would make more money not prosecuting people than prosecuting people. Because if there's no chance on earth that Target is like, we're going to do the decision that makes us lose more money, right? Target has done the calculus. They have found that, hey, if we allow people to be arrested at our stores, less people will come to our stores, and we're better off taking the loss of some shoplifting than we are taking the loss of customers no longer coming here because they're paranoid about cops, right? Like, this is 100% a money decision. If it's not a money decision, then like, what kind of decision is it? Like, what's being implied here? That like Target as a brand, as a company is like, man, we just desperately want to lose money. We hate making money, even though the entire, point of being a giant corporation is to make money. We've decided, no, we want to be a pro steal from us corporation. And, as many things as have been misrepresented so far in this segment that I've been able to like call out, I don't even know why I'm taking this claim at face value, because odds are that Target does prosecute shoplifters and this dude's just lying. But on the off chance that he's not lying to me, I'm sure that there are financial reasons for Target's policies.
But they don't want anybody to know about it. Is this Target's way of giving out reparations? We don't know. I mean, you can now steal up to $900 in California without getting pinched. This could destroy Target. Maybe that's the idea.
There's also another possibility here that the U.S. government doesn't want to crack down on shoplifting right now because they realize that if they did, it would lead to like social unrest. So maybe it's like at the behest of the government that shoplifters are being less prosecuted these days. Maybe they're just like, hey, people are so broke and desperate now that if we don't let them get away with a little bit of shoplifting, they're actually going to riot and like destroy a bunch of things. So I guess we can't really do that. But I don't know. that's just speculation. And I mean, who knows? Like, you can't really take anything that's being said on Fox News at face value.
Riley Gaines is the director of the Riley Gaines Center and an ambassador for the Independent Women's Forum. And Madison Allworth's a Fox Business correspondent. So, Riley, are you going to have gay Nutcracker around the Christmas tree this Christmas?
What's my other option?
Well, you
Black
have
disabled Santa.
Yes, you have black.
I mean, even when I was seeing you guys show pictures of the Nutcrackers you were talking about, like, there was still normal Nutcrackers there. So get one of those. I don't know. You want like a traditional white Nutcracker? Then just get that, because that's still being sold. So what's the complaint? Is there one?
Black Santa in the wheelchair. And we don't have anything against Black Santa or disabled Santa. I think if Santa...
Yeah, I mean, you clearly do. What do you mean you have nothing against black or disabled Santa? You're literally doing a segment about how awful it is that that's happening. Like, you obviously do have something against that.
Has a disability, then that's fine. But why do you think Target is selling this type of merch?
You know what I thought about today? Back in 2005, Target banned the word Christmas, the phrase Merry Christmas. Employees weren't allowed to say it.
That I almost guarantee you is a lie. Claim Target has banned the use of Merry Christmas in its stores and advertising. Target prohibited store employees from using the phrase Merry Christmas with customers. False. Target eschewed use of the word Christmas in its promotional marketing, promotional material at the start of the 2005 holiday season. True. Target responded to public pressure during the second week of Christmas 2005 and began using the word Christmas in its promotional material again. True. So, I guess there is a kernel of truth to this. Target never prohibited its employees from saying Merry Christmas, but it stopped using it stopped using the term Christmas in its advertising in 2005. However, due to public pressure, they immediately dropped that policy the same year. So basically, the moment there was any pushback, Target stopped with that policy. So this policy was literally something that was enacted for like a matter of months, probably a matter of weeks. And it hasn't been their policy for nearly 20 years now. So, right? I mean, who cares?
No merchandise was allowed to have the word Christmas on it because it implied that,
No, it says no promotional material. That means marketing. So they did not stop employees from saying Merry Christmas or from using the word Christmas. They did not stop selling merchandise that referenced Christmas. The only thing they stopped was marketing materials that referenced Christmas. And even then, they only did that for a few weeks before public pressure had them immediately fold and start using Christmas in their marketing once more. So this is pretty much, I mean, I can't say it's completely 100% false what you're saying right now, but it's like 99% false.
The idea of Christ exists. Now, I believe that's still in effect, yet they're allowed to have...
No, it's not. It literally was not. No, it has not been in effect since 2005, the same year it was introduced. It lasted a matter of like a week or two. Like, shut up. You're a liar.
Black disabled Santa and a gay Nutcracker. It doesn't make sense. You have to ask yourself, why do they keep pushing this? Who are they trying to appeal to? Because despite what the...
Well, here's my theory on this. I would say that the Black Santa is probably supposed to appeal to black people. I would say the disabled Santa is probably meant to appeal to disabled people. I would say the gay Santa or the gay Nutcracker is probably meant to appeal to gay people. That would be my guess. If I was to just take a fucking shot in the dark and try to figure out who these things were for, that would be my best guess. Like, it's kind of obvious, actually, now that I think about it.
Media portrays or how politicians are voting, this doesn't represent the overwhelming majority of how this country, really how the world, feels on this issue. I think
Feels on this. There's no issue here, bitch. What issue? There is no issue. I guarantee you, I could go out in the world and just tell most Americans, like, hey, Target is selling a rainbow flag, you know, sort of Nutcracker to people. And, you know, the 20% of this country that are just like batshit lunatic insane would probably, I guess, throw a hissy fit about it. But 80% of Americans are either going to just be like, I don't care, or like, yeah, I guess that's good. And that's it. If Target was making the decision to only sell nutcrackers that are LGBT or whatever, they're only going to sell Santa Claus as a cripple, you know, then maybe people would get upset about it. I still probably wouldn't, because who gives a rat's ass, but, you know, more people would. But the fact that this is just like an option for people, like, hey, you can, if you want a disabled Santa, you can buy that. Hey, if you want a gay nutcracker, you can buy that. I don't think most people give a shit. Pretty sure that most people don't care about having an option that they can easily just not exercise. Like, no one is making it mandatory for you to buy a gay nutcracker. No one is doing that. So who cares?
I think majority of people, parents especially, they can acknowledge that gay nutcracker and black disabled Santa has gone way too far. The pendulum has swung too far.
Yeah.
Why? Why has it gone too far? What does that mean? Like, what's the negative thing that's going to happen? Like, what is the cost of this? What is the impending disaster if Target sells a gay Santa or a fucking gay nutcracker or whatever? Like, what happens then? What's next? Like, I don't know, the collapse of Western civilization. I mean, like, what are we talking here? What's even the result?
I mean, I'm not as upset about. I mean, I'm not upset about either. But you know, this.
Then why are you doing this then? You clearly are.
This guy's one thing, but the gay nutcracker, I mean, this appeals to children, the Christmas spirit. You decorate the house, you put nutcracker up there. Is this sexualizing Christmas?
No, it sure isn't. Is a straight nutcracker sexualizing Christmas? Then a gay one isn't either. So
For children, and how does that, Madison, how does that affect corporate earnings?
it doesn't.
Well, Jesse, I think you made a great point, because the reality is we as consumers have choice. But what we're seeing in America for the first time on full display.
But you guys are against us having choice. You want us to have less choice. Yeah. If you're going to fucking give me this line about how the American consumer has choice and that's a great thing, then you should be 100% like, I love that Target's doing this, because that just gives more people more choice. No one is being deprived of a choice. Choice is being expanded here. So if you love choice, this should be great. You should be like, wow, I'm 100% in favor of this. I personally have no interest in a gay nutcracker, but I think it's cool that people who do can get one now. God bless America. And then you would go on with your fucking day.
Is that consumers are making choices based off of what they're seeing on the shelves. When it came to Bud Light, there was a huge pullback. This summer, Target also saw a pullback during its Pride season. I mean, they're still making choices like this. So you have to imagine that this is either a direction they want to take and they're ignoring the bottom line.
Yeah, no, they're not. No corporation in America is ignoring the bottom line. If any, I mean, like, you literally have to be so far removed from the plot to think that any corporation in America is ignoring the bottom line. Even if you look at something like Disney, where it's just like flop after flop after flop, Disney does not want flops. Disney is not looking at this like giant line of flops they've had lately. They're not looking at, hey, our films one after another are just performing terribly at the box office. Disney's not looking at that and being like, this is fine. We're okay with this because we're not about money. We're about principles. That's not happening. Disney is freaking the hell out right now. You're probably going to start see them actually doing some very different things to appeal to, new demographics. You're probably going to see them start taking more risks because they kind of have to out of necessity. So you're going to start seeing stuff that's like more interesting like that. As far as Target goes, you look at their stock, they've not suffered any sort of serious downturn, you know, recently after this woke stuff has like come out. You look at the sales of Bud Light specifically, you can see that, yes, that was impacted. But if you look at Anheuser-Busch as a brand, that has not really been impacted by the Bud Light boycott, because a lot of people said, I'm not drinking Bud Light no more. I'm going to drink this other beer instead. But it turns out that beer is also owned by the same giant corporation. And, you know, we know that even the people who claim to be like these big advocate, like we've seen Kid Rock made one of the biggest to-dos ever about how Bud Light is the devil. And then we saw him drinking Bud Light. He doesn't even care. It's all fucking fake. It's all a giant grift. The second he doesn't think anyone's watching him, he's drinking Bud Light again because he doesn't give a rat's ass about that. It was just virtue signaling nonsense.
Or maybe it's not having as big of an impact, but you look at the stock and you do see it going down. So you do know that there is an impact, and you have to
I literally just showed you guys the stock. You know that's not true.
wonder, what is the point? And then you look at the other part of all of this is the crime. And the CEO actually coming out and saying, he said that they lock up a lot of stuff at Target. This is something that we see when we go out to our stores. And they say that customers actually like that they like that they have stuff in stock. You have to wait.
Wait a second.
You have to wait for it. But I don't know about you. When I can order something online and it shows up to my door in a day and I don't have to stand in a Target aisle and wait for a product, you have a real problem there.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with retail in general right now. I mean, look, one of the things that, you know, remember a few years ago, you know, Black Friday used to be like people were literally murdering each other to get Black Friday merch. People would stampede over one another. You know, people would show up at like 4 a.m, try to be the first in line, push and shove and trample each other trying to get this Black Friday merch. And now Black Friday is pretty much like no one even cares anymore because it's just all like it's all online now. You know, people are waiting for Amazon's Black Friday. No one cares about Target's Black Friday. No one cares about Walmart's Black Friday. No one cares about Best Buy's Black Friday. It's all about Amazon now. So this is just a problem about like traditional retail in general. Doesn't really have much to do with Target or Walmart or any of these specific brands. Has much more to do with just like the changing spending habits of the American consumer.
I am embarrassed when I go to the store and I want to buy deodorant or...
Dude, you don't go to the store. You have people that do that shit for you. You're a billionaire. You're not a billionaire. You're a millionaire. You make millions of dollars on doing your Fox News show. No one believes that you're going to the store and, you know, buying your own stuff.
maybe another product for my personal hygiene. And it's locked up, Riley, and I have to hit a button, and then a big beeping sound happens, and then all these workers descend upon me, and they see what I want, and then they judge me. I don't like that. I just want to go into the store and grab what I want.
Totally. And you have to think, you know, they have stuff behind closed cases to prevent people from stealing things. But then if they do steal them, don't arrest them, don't do anything to them. Why do they even have the cases then?
If they let them steal.
Exactly.
A lot of people are disenfranchised with holiday shopping. I offered a woman 50% off a winter jacket, and she kept thinking there was a catch, like we were going to take the money and run. Yeah, I mean, you know, I watched a video earlier today where a person was looking at the stuff on sale at Target, and they would pull the Black Friday tag off of the merch and see that the price listed for the merch prior to Black Friday was exactly the same price. So it'd be like, ooh, yeah, it's our Black Friday deal, down $200. But then they look and they see like this was what they were already charging prior to Black Friday. So that's another thing, is like these great deals that supposedly happen on Black Friday don't really happen anymore because corporations are too greedy to even give you a deal at this point. So it's all just fake now.
Do you think anybody's going to steal gay Nutcracker?
Well, it's on sale.
It's on sale. It's only $8. It's like the only thing that people can afford in Joe Biden's economy.
Absolutely.
Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much. And you guys can keep
Yeah,
these.
thank you so much. Very valuable. What a great segment. What a great point being made. Not at all a superfluous bunch of nonsense. Oof.